Hey, cheers, everybody. Welcome back to Good Bets, Good Times. This is the football betting show for all my fellow degens and weekend warriors who want to win a little more, lose a little less, and of course, have a good damn time doing it. I am your host, Nate Tuttle of NT Sports. Thank you for stopping by. Today's episode, folks, we kick off college football preview season, starting with the Atlantic Coast Conference, aka the ACC. We'll break down top 5 betting favorites to win the conference, our dark horse pick, and we'll roll through the rest of the conference rapid fire style. And folks, we're 53 days away from week 0, college football kicking off. We're almost there. I can taste it. I can feel it. But before we get there, we do have 138 teams, 9 conferences, probably too many bets, probably. But regardless, stay tuned. We got 7 weeks of episodes. We'll sprinkle in some NFL previews in there as well. We love all football. So if you are watching along on YouTube and you're digging the show, feel free to give us a like, a comment, a subscribe, so we can catch all the new episodes as they drop throughout the summer. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, hey, drop us a follow, a rating, a review, any feedback. It's all appreciated. Thank you very much. And with that being said, let's get to it. Without further ado, grab your favorite beverage, a little IPA action for myself, kick back, and let's talk some ball, shall we?
I love guys who like football. And guys who like football, they like me back, and I like them back.
So the ACC, man. So we're going to dive into each one of the contenders here. Some of these are going to be fairly obvious, right? We'll take it from the top. We'll go 1 through 5. I do have a dark horse pick outside of the top 5. And there's some other sleeper teams way down the list that are interesting as well. Do I think they can win the conference? Nah, probably not. There's a lot of mid. There's a lot of teams that could go anywhere from 5 to maybe 10 wins if everything goes perfectly throughout the season. But kicking it off, the Miami Hurricanes. National runners-up last year. Put up a fight against Indiana. Made a hell of a run in the playoff, including taking out my Buckeyes. They lost a lot. Let's be honest. Lost quite a few draft picks. Major rebuild on the offensive and defensive line. Another new quarterback. They do bring in last year's ACC champion, Dorian Mensah, from Duke, amid some controversy along the way. A little bit of a lawsuit. Duke wasn't very happy, but these two teams play each other this year, so that should be fun. It's in Miami late in the season, but we know Mensah can play. It's a great get for Miami. Great replacement for Carson Beck. I have questions. I do. I'm not going to lie. I think we saw last year in the playoff that Carson Beck is a gamer. He's the kind of dude that is going to put it on the line. He's going to do what it takes to win games for his team. Is Dorian Mensah that guy? We know he can sling it. He put up almost 4,000 yards last year, 34 TDs. But does he have that dog in him? We will see. Can he help Miami finish the job? Can he get him back to the playoff, to the championship? And can they finally win an ACC championship? That's what we're talking about here today. This is the most talented team in the league. Even with all their losses last year, it's pretty obvious. Athlon Sports has them rated first in 6 position groups. Still 5 position groups have number 1 in the conference, including quarterback, receiver, running back, D-line, linebackers. Has them down a little bit, 6th for the offensive line. They do have a 5-star, one of the top recruits, if not the top recruit in the country, true freshman Jackson Cantwell starting in left tackle. So that's going to be interesting. I don't care how good of a recruit you are. You go into stepping up into ACC play in college football. You're the blind side for your quarterback. That's tough. Assume he'll be the starter. We will see. But this team is minus 135 to win the conference. 57.5-ish implied odds, which to me is too high. This is not a bet I would place. They're the favorites, obviously. We said best roster, best team in the conference. They should be, rightfully so, the betting favorite to win the ACC this year. But to me, it's just no value. I mean, give you an example. Look over at the Big 12, where Texas Tech, who arguably has the best roster in that conference, far and away. I know, some controversy around the quarterback's position. There's some question marks there. So a little bit different scenario, but very, very similar in that. I would gladly take a 50-50 price on Texas Tech to win the Big 12. And I think that's where Miami should be. In a 17-team conference, a conference that has a new champion, someone emerges just about every single year. Duke last year came out of nowhere. Some wonky tiebreakers got him into the championship, but still. But yeah, we're passing on Miami. They're a contender, of course. They should, given the talent that they have, win this conference. You could say they had more talent last year, didn't make it. Granted, if they didn't have the weird tiebreakers, they probably should have been in the championship game. Still got in the playoff. We saw how that worked out for him. We know Mario Cristobal too. Another reason I'm fading Miami, even though I think their biggest game of the year is at Notre Dame, non-conference game, so that's not gonna put them out of the championship race. Schedule's not terrible. They got Stanford to start off the year on a Friday night at Stanford, which is always tricky. I think it's more trickier later in the year. Starting off the season at Stanford is a lot different than flying out there from Miami in late October, November, which tricky spot, even though they'll probably be 3 touchdown favorites in that game. Florida A&M, second game, gimme. At Wake, could be interesting. That's a feisty team. Central Michigan at Clemson, also another tough road spot. Then the bye, Florida State at home, Pittsburgh at home, Carolina, the big one at Notre Dame. Follow that up with Duke, which there's going to be a lot of hype around that game with Mensa and the situation there. You got Virginia Tech at home and Boston College at home. So clear path. Imagine outside of Notre Dame, every conference game, they'll be a favorite in every other game that they play. But we know Mario Cristobal's team. I was looking today, and every single year since he took over as head coach, he has lost a game as a double-digit favorite. 2022, 10-point favorite against Duke, and got smoked by 24. 2023, Georgia Tech, 19-point favorite, lost by 3. Both those games are at home, by the way. These aren't tricky road spots. Those are home games. We know 2024, they went on the road to Syracuse, 12-point favorites, lost, kept them out of the playoff. Then last year, Louisville at home, 10-point favorites, lost by 3. A game that kept them out of the ACC championship game. Or you could argue SMU, which technically wasn't a double-digit favorite. That was a road game. They were 8.5. I think is what they closed at. Point favorites, lost that game as well. But does that trend continue? And there's a couple things I think about Miami too that I just want to see it. I want to see it. And what I want to see is the U truly back? Are they a team? Are they in that upper echelon of teams like your Ohio States, like your Oregons, like your Georgias, that no matter how many guys they lose to the NFL, are they going to be able to reload and consistently stay on top? And they got to prove that this year. The guys they lost on the defensive front, they're tough to replace. They brought in some portal ads, but are they in that Indiana territory now? Indiana proved it last year. 2 years ago wasn't a fluke. Now has Cristobal truly built something here? And if he has, they should, outside of possibly Notre Dame, there's no reason this team shouldn't win 11 games, win the ACC, make another run in the playoff. But this is a betting show, and I'm passing at minus 135. Win total is interesting too, though. It's 10.5. Minus 110 to the over. Looking around, plus 110 to the under. So I do lean under. Barely. What do we got him here? 10.4. Yeah, so it's basically on the number. But at plus money, if that's, I did see a plus 120 a few weeks ago. May have jumped on that. And the biggest reason is my point I just made, right? I believe they'll go in and they'll lose to Notre Dame. That's their one loss. And they always lose a game in the ACC that they should not lose as a favorite. What's that game going to be? Can Wake get them earlier than the year? Clemson? Pitt at home? Pitt's one of those teams. They like to be a big dog and pull an upset from time to time. Duke in the revenge spot. Tech's going to be much better. We'll talk about them here in a bit. Boston College isn't going to get them end of the year. So, hey, it's a plus money option. I'm not betting it right now at 110. If it gets a little bit higher, we will see. To the under 10.5. But yeah, Miami, favorite to win this conference at minus 135. We're passing. Not a bet I would make. Moving on, number 2, SMU. SMU Mustangs. Consensus is plus 700 right now. Pretty much across the board, there is a plus 800 out there at a book that I'm seeing, depending on where you have access to, shop around. I do lean toward that plus 800. I love the fact they got Jennings back. 3-year starter. What could be the best O-line in the conference. Experienced, elite. In my opinion, a very favorable schedule. Clear path to an ACC championship game. Do start the season off a little tough. Not going to lie there. In ACC play. Kick off the season at Florida State, which no matter what do you think of the Seminoles going into Florida State week 1, it's never easy. Ask Alabama. UC Davis at home. And then at Louisville. So 2 out of their first 3 games are conference games, and they're road conference games, which is never fun. Not a great way to start your season. So, even SMU, this could be one where, I do like SMU. Outside of Miami as the clear favorite. If there's one bet I would make in the top 5 at plus money, I would jump on a plus 800 SMU if you can find it. And the reason the rest of the schedule, if they can get through those first 2 games, go in and beat Florida State, get an FCS opponent at home, and then go into Louisville, which is right up there with them at the 3rd favorite to win this conference, then it's not too bad. Missouri State, Boston College at home, bye week, get Virginia at home, Cal at home, so they don't have to travel out to California yet, which was a tricky spot for them last year. A little bit of revenge. Cal beat them last game of the season by 3, kept them out of all they had to do was win that game. They're in the ACC championship game. Couldn't get it done, but they get Cal at home this year. They got to go up into the Dome and play Syracuse. Tech at home, Wake Forest at home. Notre Dame in a non-con late in the year, which is fun. And then they followed up with Stanford. So another tricky California spot to end the year. Did they learn their lesson? Is Rhett Lashley going to have this team prepared? We will see. I like the continuity here. This is a playoff team 2 years ago. They were a game away, double-digit favorite at Cal. All they had to do was take care of business last game of the year, get to the ACC championship game, and have a shot at the playoff. They blew it, so very close again last year. And this year they're the one team out of all these contenders in the ACC that has a quarterback that's back in experience, that's been with the team for more than a season. They did lose both of their coordinators, offense and defense coordinators. Offensive, it won't bother them too much. Rhett Lashley calls the plays. Not a huge deal there. Defensive coordinator's gone. Lost their leading tackler, leading pass rusher from last year. Rhett Lashley did make basically every other coach in the team a co-coordinator of some sort, so that's That's fairly interesting. It's an approach that I don't quite understand, but hey, they do have some continuity on the staff. But yeah, I like SMU. It's not a bet I've placed yet. Haven't touched the win total either. Sitting at 8.5. Juicy over -130. I have it right on 8.6. My line's 8.6. So yeah, slightly over, but not at -130 price. So we'll pass on the win total. May take a shot, and this is one I may hold off. I think the price is spot on to where it should be at the consensus +700. There's a little bit of value on the +800, but could be one to wait and see too. If you love SMU, grab the 800 now. If you want to wait and see and think that possibly they could get tripped up early, either at FSU or Louisville early in the year, maybe buy them then after they get one loss. If you feel like they can bounce back and have a more favorable schedule to end the year, conference schedule that is. So yeah, SMU. Very fair price at +700. Moving on to Louisville. Louisville Cardinals +800. 11% implied odds to win the conference, third favorite. And yeah, they're +800s across the board. There's a +900 sitting out there at one book that I see. Not a bad price there. There were some +1000s a few months ago. Those have been gobbled up. So folks do like Louisville to win this conference. There's a lot of hype. A lot of hype about the QB position. Lincoln Kienholz coming in. He's a Buckeye. Very close to winning the starting job last year over Julian Sayin. And can't blame him for leaving to a place where he could start this year. Curious to see what he can do. I'm rooting for him. Very athletic, highly touted recruit. Unproven though. Hasn't started a college football game. The good news is they do return the running back duo, Brown and Brown. Got both leading rushers back. That's huge. Got all ACC defensive end Clev Rubin back on the D line. They're leading pass rusher, 8.5 sacks last year. Did have the rebuilt the O-line. Brought in 5 offensive line transfers. So that's going to be interesting. And like I said, at this number, maybe would have pounced on the +1000 if that was still available now. It's not. Lines moved. +800, also very fair price. And not one that I want to throw down on. Brahms kind of in the same boat as Cristobal. They seem to always lose a game or two that they shouldn't lose. Did have a few close calls last year. OT loss against Virginia at home. 19-point favorites against Cal. Cal came in and beat him outright, also in overtime. Lost at home by 2 to Clemson. Small 2-point favorites, not a big deal there. Then lost as a dog. So three losses in a row last year. They were banged up too. But yeah, another team that I do like, very intriguing. I want to see Kienholz and how he does. I mean, their schedule kicking off the season, just coming out swinging against Ole Miss. That's a neutral site in Nashville. FCS Villanova. And SMU at home, Wake Forest at home, NC State, Florida State. At Syracuse before the bye. That's not a great schedule to start the year. Curious how they perform against Ole Miss. It's another one where you could wait and see. The showdown, the clash early in the year against SMU. Winner of that game is going to have a fast track to a SEC championship if they take care of business the rest of the way, which we know these ACC teams are not. They're going to slip up. They always do. When's it going to happen to Louisville? I think it will. The inexperienced at quarterback is going to get them. The new offensive line is going to get them. But no matter how you look at it, Brahms won 10 games, 9 games, 9 games. 9+ games the last 3 years. I think they can do it again this year. Win totals at, what do we got? 7.5, some 8.5s out there. 7.5, I do like the over. It's one of my better edges in the ACC, but it's 7.5's juiced. It's minus 170. It's a little out of my price range there. Do I think they win 8 games? I think 8 games is, yeah. That's solid. Got him at 8.2. At 8.5, opposite. Probably look under. Or at 8.5 is probably the exact number where it should be. So if you want to buy these 8.5, the highly juiced up 7.5, not a bad bet. Just isn't too many question marks for me. So, like the team, intriguing team, we're fading this number. Not going to buy at the plus 800 or plus 900. Moving on, Clemson. Whew. Has Dabo turned a corner? Did he get into the portal? He bring in some dudes? Tried to. It has a lot of dudes to replace, that's for sure. Quarterback position. Christopher Vizina. Don't believe he started a game. Maybe he played a little bit last year. I think Cade Klubnik was banged up. He came in and played a little bit. Another unproven quarterback, but man, he's got some pro talent at the wide receiver position. And don't forget, this team's only 1 year removed. I know everyone's down on Clemson. Everyone loves to watch the downfall of the Clemson Tigers. Dabo's toast. He's on the hot seat. Yeah, they had a shitty season last year. They severely underachieved. People are picking this team last year to win the national championship game. They had a slew of guys get drafted. Ton of pro talent on this roster. Just could not put it together. Klubnik was banged up. Still played well. 4th round draft pick. He's a pro now. I would say that's a loss. As I mentioned, Dabo embracing the portal. Went out and brought in quite a few guys. He looking at Bill Conley's continuity table for the ACC. They do return 111 starts. Brought in 26 starts. But no matter how much I try to talk myself into, Clemson, the downfall is being overhyped. I still think plus 600, 1,600 is where they're sitting at right now. It's still too high. Not a number I would take. Plus, they're down plus 1,200 some books, plus 1,400, plus 16 is pretty much the consensus there. I still think it's too high just because it is Clemson. Still paying for the brand name. If this was any other team behind this roster, they'd probably be down in the mid pack, down by the NC States, the Virginia Techs, and the Cows. But yeah, we're passing on Clemson at this price. Maybe another potential buy during the season after they start off at LSU. Ugh. A lot of turnover at LSU too. We'll get into them during the SEC preview, but you got Lane coming in. That's at LSU. They got to go down to Death Valley with a brand new starting quarterback, rebuilt roster, and to rebuild in the trenches, offensive line and defensive line. New old OC. Bring back Chad Morris, who was the offensive coordinator here at Clemson 2011 to 2014. He's bounced around, head coach at SMU, Arkansas, Auburn. But I don't know if this is going back in time, trying to rekindle some offensive success from the early 2010s, mid 2010s, with a guy who hasn't had a ton of success since he left Clemson. Maybe he opens it up. Maybe Vizina can sling it to these receivers. We'll see. They put up a fight at LSU. Maybe I'll be a believer. Georgia Southern next. North Carolina, Chapel Hill at home. Then they have that tricky road trip to Cal on a Friday night. Ooh, that's going to be a fun one. Miami at home. Can they trip up Miami? That's their 5th game of the year. Got some time to have the QB settle in. some of these new pieces settle in before the bye week. Charleston Southern, Virginia Tech at home, Florida State, at Syracuse, Georgia Tech, at Duke, and then the rivalry game to end the season at home against South Carolina. So there's a path here. This may be an in-season bye. I'm just still on the fence. This could be the downfall of Dabo. He could be done. I mean, I know he's finally trying to bring some guys in the portal, maybe embracing Nil a little bit as well. We'll see. Too many question marks for Clemson. I'm passing. Potential bye in season if they can come out of the gate looking strong and this new QB can play a little bit. Next up, so there's kind of the fifth favorite position's a little bit of a tie here between Virginia and Pitt. I'm going Virginia. Looks like they're as low as 1,300 at some books. Pitt's pretty across the board, plus 1,700, plus 1,800. Best number for Virginia is 1,700. So, and we'll talk about them. They were ACC runner-up last year, 11-win season. Plus 1,800 is the best you can get, 5.2% implied odds to win this conference. And yeah, they had a great year last year. Tony Elliott, maybe he's turned it around. Do we think he's figured it out after what is this? How many years has he been at Virginia now? This will be his fifth season. He's got 3 wins, 5 wins, and then out of nowhere, 11 wins. So the question I have is, has he figured it out? I'm hearing Virginia has some money coming into the program. They're investing a lot in football. But it was 2025 the outlier. Are they going to be a perennial contender from here on out? Or was that a blip? Were they going to fall back? And I don't think they'll fall far. I did one bet I have made in the ACC so far, one and only so far, is Virginia under 8.5 wins. This was expensive, but well worth it to me, as I have them at 7.2 wins. So under 8.5 is a steal. Don't know how many 8.5s are available. I wouldn't bet it any higher than the minus 175. It's about right in the edge of where I see the value. Would only bet this at 8.5. 7.5 is about spot on, unless you get like a really nice plus price there. But 2 ways to look at this. The plus 1,800 number is not that bad. It's actually I see some value in that number, which completely obviously contradicts the fact that I'm on the under. You would think, right? But one little lesson here is, yes, you can be on an under on a win total, but also bet the same team to win the conference. These are 2 different bets. Win total bets, keep in mind, you're betting the median outcome. My median outcome is 7.2 wins. It's over a win under the 8.5 that I bet them at. If you're betting a future at plus 1,800, you're betting on the tail. You're betting if everything falls right and this team performs at their best case scenario for them is them winning an ACC championship, or at least being close, making it to the title game, being in contention last game of the year. So where that plus 1,800 that you invested in has a little bit of value towards the end of the season. Those are 2 legitimate bets. Have I done it? Not yet, to be honest with you. But you could. 2 separate bets. Win total is a standard 1-unit play for me. If I were to throw down on this plus 1,800 for Virginia, because I do see there's a little bit of value there at that number, it'd be probably a 1/4 unit. Just sprinkle a quarter. See what happens. But I'm not a big Bo Prabula guy. Can he stay healthy? Got all new running backs, all new wide receivers, breaking in pretty much an entirely new offense. They do have a very good, talented, experienced offensive line. And let's talk about the schedule here, too, as well. They don't play Miami, Clemson, or Louisville on this schedule. They do have to go to SMU in the middle of the year. They kick off the season with NC State, this was the Brazil game. It got brought back. Not 100% sure why. I think there's some issues down there. Not up to speed on my geopolitics, but I do a little research on that. But they did move the game back from Brazil. This game is, I believe it's at home. They play this one at home against NC State. They get a bye week, second week of the season. Very early bye week. Norfolk State, neutral site game against West Virginia down in Charlotte, which is going to be a banger in my opinion. I like to see what the Mountaineers have this year. They got Delaware. Get back into conference play, going out to Florida State, home at Syracuse, at SMU, Duke, at Wake Forest. Always tricky. We're talking about Wake Forest. They're going to be a feisty team. Another bye week. Cal at home, Carolina home, at Virginia Tech. So, honestly, one of the more favorable schedules in the conference. So there is a path here. I could be dead wrong on my win total. They've invested money into this roster. This could be better team than I'm foreseeing it to be, and they can make another run. So there's some value. If you do like Virginia, if you're more confident than I am, there's a plus 1,800 out there for you. So that's the top five. So who do we have outside the top five that I believe is worth a small investment into winning this conference? Who's my dark horse for this year? And if you listen to the show last year, this is going to sound very familiar. Quite a different scenario. I was dead wrong on this last year. Terrible, terrible play. But that's Virginia Tech Hokies. We're back on the Hokies. They're once again my dark horse team in this conference. Best number I see him at is plus 2,800. That's a 3.45% implied odds to win this conference. I think they have a lot better shot than that. And this is a variance play. I mean, if you're going to toss out a plus 2,800 bet, throw a small quarter unit on it, you're betting on James Franklin, who's a proven winner. Say what you want about his Penn State tenure. This is a different conference. This is the ACC. Doesn't have to play Ohio State. Doesn't have to play Michigan. Doesn't play Indiana. No Oregon. They do have to play Miami. They bring in Grunkenmeyer, familiar with this offensive scheme. And very underrated move, surprising move. But, you don't see this very often, is the fired head coach Brent Pry coming back to coordinate this defense. Much better position for him, focusing on the defense where he's had success. And this is a complete program overhaul, but I don't want to say it's a complete roster overhaul. Surprisingly, going back to Bill Conley's continuity table on his ACC preview, they have the highest returning production in the conference. So they actually kept and brought back a lot of guys. They did bring in some guys too. They brought in 69 starts. They returned 168 starts. 71% production on offense, 67% production on defense, which, they also brought back their DC. A guy who's familiar with this team and this defense. They do have a lot of questions on the O-line. I think Grunkenmeyer, he's serviceable. He's a guy that can do what he needs to do in a James Franklin run team to win games. especially in the ACC. The only thing that gave me a little bit of pause on this is going to be this schedule. So they were not handed a very very friendly, very favorable ACC schedule in the back half. So, but they do have an opportunity to start the year, in my opinion. They could be 6-1. Yeah, 6-1. Going into a game at Clemson on October 24th. Maybe 7-0. But they got VMI, Old Dominion, which is always a tricky game for them at home. They play up the road at Maryland, at Boston College, 2 very winnable games. Pitt at home on a Friday night. Ooh, that's going to be fun. Pitt coming to town in Blacksburg on a Friday night. Love that. Then they got to go out to Cal. We know that's for every ACC team flying out from Blacksburg, Virginia to Berkeley, California. Never fun. Back home to Georgia Tech the next week. And then this is where it gets a little tough. At Clemson, they do get a bye. At SMU. Home against Stanford. At Miami on a Friday night. And then home against their rival Virginia to end the year. So they play 4 out of the top 5 contenders that we just talked about. They play 4, 3 of them on the road to end their season, their last 5 games. That's not easy. But hey, if they start the year off strong, they're playing well. This team's gelling. Franklin's winning the games he's supposed to be winning, like he typically does. They could go in and knock off Clemson. They could come out of the bye week, go and beat SMU. Stanford, that's at home. That should be a win. Miami, at Miami on a Friday night. We talked about Cristobal losing these games as favorites at home. It happens every year. Could that be the game? And their rival Virginia, we just talked about. I think they're better than Virginia. So yeah, there's a path here. This is a variance play. Anytime you bring in a new coach like this, especially the guy on the caliber of James Franklin. Grunkemeyer, who played very well last year after Drew Aller got hurt at Penn State, after Franklin was fired. Franklin went back out and got him. Got the best kicker in the conference. Don't underestimate that. I'm an Ohio State fan. I know how important it is to have a good kicker. And they got one. He can win them some games. So yeah, let's run it back with the Hokies. Feeling better about it than last year. I think last year it was like plus 2,500 I took them at. And I thought they were turning a corner with Pry. I thought that last year would be the year. It was dead wrong. 3-9 season. Also bet they're over 6.5. Lost it all. Terrible play on Tech last year. Pry was fired. And it's a new era. It's a new era of Hokie football. College football is better when Virginia Tech is good. We want to see Enter Sandman on November 28th against Virginia in their rival. That stadium going nuts. And they're playing for a spot in the ACC championship game. Whew. Love that. We'll see what can happen. So that's our top 6 contenders, folks. Now we'll kind of dive into the best of the rest. Go through the rest of this conference. We talked about Pitt already. I'm not a Pitt guy. If you listen to this podcast, you know I'm a Pittsburgh sports fan. Just not a Pittsburgh college anything fan. Although they do have a quarterback that's very talented in Mason Heitrell, went 5-0 last year, as true freshman starter. But you can't trust a Pat Narduzzi team. We'll pass at plus 1,800 on Pitt. Always a feisty team as a dog. I love betting Pitt as an underdog, so there'll be a team that will be on in certain spots throughout the season, but no interest in any future. Then you got NC State, another team that's I went back and forth. I almost threw them as my dark horse. You can get them up to plus 3,000 to win this conference. Bringing CJ Bailey back. They'd lose Hollywood Smothers out to Texas. But this is an intriguing team. Plus 3,000 is not a bad number. And you got Cal, plus 3,500. Bring the quarterback back. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name right now. It's too late at night. An IPA in. We'll pass. But they got the quarterback. Got a new head coach. A lot of East Coast, West Coast road trips. And it's just, a team that I think should probably win 7 games next year, but not a contender for the conference. Wake Forest, same boat, another mid-tier team. Love what Jake Digger's doing at Wake Forest. Won 9 games last year. Brings in Gio Lopez, journeyman Gio Lopez. Nah, I'll pass on a championship there, but fun team. Team that's going to be fun to bet this year. Duke, defending champ. Don't forget about Duke, the defending champion. I mean, they're down to plus 7,500. And by the luck of a tiebreaker, they had 8 wins going into 8-4, making the ACC title game, winning that game. Still couldn't make the playoff with 4 losses, but yeah, Duke, passing on Duke this year. Syracuse could be fun. It's a team I almost bet they're over. Definitely not going to bet them to win the conference. I mean, you can get them 250 to 1. But Steve Angeli got hurt last year. They're rolling. They beat Clemson. They're rolling right along. Angeli gets hurt. The season goes downhill from there, but he's back. Very tough schedule, which is what kept me off betting they're over 4.5 wins. So no love for Syracuse. Interesting team. Their offense could be solid again if Steve Angeli can stay healthy. Oh, and then we got North Carolina. Best number here, 150 to 1 to win this conference. Went 4-8 last year. Did bring in Bobby Petrino to run this offense. Brought in 51 new players. QB positions up at the QB position's gonna be a battle. Who knows who's gonna win the QB battle there? But could be a bowl team. Their win total sitting at 4.5 as well, juiced to the over. Got them at 4.7. So right on. Not a contender. Always interesting to see how Belichick's going to do in year 2. Can he actually turn this program around, or is he going to be gone by the end of this year if he wins another 4 or 5 games? We will see. Fun story. Boston College, another coach, Jim O'Brien, on the hot seat, or Bill O'Brien, Jim O'Brien, Bill O'Brien on the hot seat. Another team, lowest win total. Well, they're right down there with Stanford. Yeah, 3.5 in the conference. Juicy the other minus 125. Have them right at 3.5 wins. Not a bet on the total there. Another team that I wouldn't touch on a win total. Obviously, no chance of winning the conference. But another team that could have a coach fired by week 4 or 5. And last but not least, Stanford. Projected to finish last in this conference. Nice juicy 400 to 1 if you want to throw a few cents on Stanford to win this conference. But this is another turnaround situation. Brought in a new coach. Stanford's another team that, college football is more fun when Stanford's good and they're, at least mediocre, at least a bowl team. And we even saw last year. I mean, going out to Stanford is never an easy. Who'd they get last year? Florida State. Yeah, they beat Cal at home in the rivalry game. They also beat Florida State as 17-point dogs. So they're always good for a big upset win. Let's look at the schedule. Stanford will probably be a team that will bet in some sneaky spots. Got NC State coming out October 24th. That could be fun. Georgia Tech coming out. Miami coming out to start the year. That's pretty funny. SMU to end the year. Can they be a spoiler? Can they pull a Cal and spoil SMU's year? We'll see. Stanford's a fun team. Man, that wraps it up, folks. We're almost 50 minutes in. And next week, we are going to move on to the Big 12. I'm excited to talk about the Big 12. It's always the most fun conference to talk about because it's so up in the air. It's so wide open. Who knows what's going to happen? But we'll continue on with our previews, followed by switching over to the NFL, doing 2 weeks of previews there, back in 3 weeks of college football, and then we're right into the season, man. Right into our week 0 preview and bets, and I cannot wait to start getting some season bets down and sweating out some games. It'll be here before you know it. Enjoy the summer. Enjoy the next few weeks. Before I let you go, feel free to give us a follow on X. As I mentioned, rate, review, subscribe, whatever you need to do on YouTube. Same thing on the podcast platform. Really appreciate it. Trying to grow this thing. So appreciate all the listeners out there, watchers on YouTube. And until next week's, folks, cheers, everybody.